They're twisting the text. They are trying to conceal its true meaning. We've heard, but their edits are shallow. The truth will out someday.
Peace of the Lord to all of you. Welcome to the channel and welcome back, John. Last time we were exploring the Trinity and the concept of Trinity in the Quran, which appears in so many places and in so many different ways. And today we are going to go through the second part of this session, where John is going to show us all of this Trinitarian theme in the Quran. So John, welcome back to the channel. And thank you for everything that you have done so far. The previous session was really eye-opening. And you said you've promised that this one is going to be a lot of fun. So I've seen some of the slides, and I think it's going to be really lighthearted and enjoyable. So looking forward to it. And welcome. How are you doing today?
Excellent. Oh, yep. I've been having a great time, and it's an honour to be back and to be able to serve all you gentle folk, men and women folk, and it's a great honour and privilege to be part of this community and to be part of the end game and to have a lot of fun. So grab your popcorn and Pepsi, and we'll just have one last look at these cool, handsome lads. They are nice lads at heart, you know. So don't let their exterior fool you. Hey, I heard one of them's name is Usama, and the other one's Lloyd. All right, but let's go on. Just please don't be heretics. So that way they will. They're great to have a drink with. Maybe a Kilkenny or a Guinness or something nice.
It would certainly have to be Guinness. That's not a discussion. Otherwise,
exactly.
You'd be a heretic.
Can't have that. All right. So basically we've concluded from the last one that this basically looks like what the Quran does when you try to make heretical statements about the Trinity, because what we're going to find, if we hit the next slide, what I'm going to show you is that at the very least, the Quran, the Arabic Quran, is it's acceptable to believe in the standard biblical Christian Trinity. Because what I'm going to show you with this part of the episode is that if the Quranic text really did oppose the biblical doctrine of the Trinity, and I'm somehow, look, like let's say everything was wrong, then if you hit the next part, you're going to find that there's actually a lot of problems within the Quranic text, because we're going to go through and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. That the following verses are highly problematic for modern Islam because of what it says about Allah. And so if you're expected to take a Unitarian interpretation and reading of the Quranic text, then you're going to have a lot of problems. So if you hit next, you'll see that my point is that the modern Islamic interpretation and a Unitarian reading and interpretation is very problematic. So if you hit next, there will be a bit of a credit that it's going to set the tone for how this is going to go. Oh yeah, so you're just gonna see it go up, and then we'll be able to. So I know that this claim is kind of sus, but as always, you be the judge. So yeah, hit next, and we're gonna start with our first passage. So I'm gonna of course start from light to heavy, and so you're gonna find lots of fun. Yep, hit next again. So there's two passages: Surah 2 verse 158, Surah 64 verse 17. Allah wants to say thank you. How sus does that sound? But this is, again, credit to Saint Murad. This is the only way you can really see it. And as always, the Arabic text is on the right. So with the arrow, so it says, okay, indeed Allah is thankful. And that's pointed shukrana. Allah, as you see there. And then we'll deal with this later as well, but Surah 64, if you loan Allah a goodly loan, he shall double it for you and forgive you. Allah is thankful for them. So yeah, Allah wants to say thank you, and apparently you can give him a loan. So give him a goodly loan. So that's the first one. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, the first one is that if somebody comes to you and says to give them a loan and they will double it for you, you know it's a scam. Okay? So kids, don't give your bank details to anybody on the internet who tells you this. It's probably a bit too sus. Okay, so that's fine. And the second one is like, well, Allah is thankful. So yeah, you're welcome. That's great. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it sounds like a scam, doesn't it? Bit sus, to say the
Yeah.
least. And I mean, hang on. Does this sound like, when it just says Allah is thankful, does this sound like the Allah of the standard modern Islamic narrative at all? I've never heard of any Sunni Islamic preacher. Not that I listen to them, but I haven't really heard. Has anyone really heard any sheikhs saying preaching about Allah being thankful? Have you ever heard any? There hasn't really been much from the the Sunni schools talking about preaching that Allah is thankful. Have you heard anything on that side?
I
Yeah.
don't think that I've heard that. Possibly sometimes I've heard the whole thing about the loan, so I suppose that they actually said the whole thing and I've just forgotten, but which is actually very sus. Like, why would you have that about giving loan? Oh, cash only, by the way, no plastic allowed. But about being thankful is certainly something that if they talk about it, they don't talk about it much. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Allah seems to have good manners. If you say please and thank, I was always taught, yeah, please and thank, saying please and saying thank you gets you quite far in life. So, yeah, I mean, Allah seems to be have some. It seems to be very a good mannered lad. To be. But there you go. I guess the real question is, if you loan Allah a goodly loan, do you charge interest? That's an interesting question that I want to pose. So, bad pun intended. We can move on if.
Yeah, but that's a very good point because charging interest is supposed to be haram. Although, if you look at the different ways of charging interest, they have lots of different ways. They just call it something else. So it very often happens in Islam. But yeah, if you give a loan and then you get more, I think that's haram. But never mind. Okay, we can move on.
All right, so here's the next one. So you thought that was bad. It's going to get worse. So Allah got hurt feelings. Look at verse 30, chapter 3, 57. Surely those who hurt Allah and his messenger, Allah has cursed them in the one close by and the last one, and has he prepared for them a debilitating torment. So from a polite, thankful Allah to someone who is, yeah. And then you see verse 58, those who hurt the male believers and female believers. Okay, so, yeah, again, it's the same word. So that's it's a bit sus in the least. How do you hurt Allah? I know.
Wow.
Maybe stops. Yeah. Poor Allah. I'm starting to feel. Yeah. Exactly.
I suppose it's because otherwise it's very difficult. The thing is that if this read, surely those who hurt Allah's messenger, Allah has cursed them. That would make perfect sense. Don't hurt his messenger. But when you say hurt Allah, is like, yeah, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, and it raises some very interesting questions, isn't it? I mean, how's that possible? Like, because clearly it's happened. Because it just says it's happened. Those who hurt and his messenger, and those who hurt it seems very blasé in the Arabic as well. And it says surely, so it's not even a oh, is it possible? And it says surely those who hurt. Oh, whoa, okay, yeah. You know what? Maybe it's because of those people who keep saying that Allah is the third of three. So stop calling Allah the third, you heretics. Okay, that was a bad joke, but yeah. Anything else to add before I make even worse jokes and start hurting?
It reminds me of a specific book where there is a being who is just basically, yeah, you can hurt Allah. This actually doesn't make any sense. We would have to then start thinking, would we have to talk about the feelings of Allah? What feelings can he experience? How does it work? And, we know that in Islam, they don't even know if Allah has body parts. So I think that's probably not a conversation that we need to have, but it's sus. I agree.
Very sus, and this is a very sus thing. I'm going to last thing to say before. It's just terrible. But who wants to kiss Allah better? Who wants to give Allah a kiss so that he can feel better? I'm not. I'm not. No, I'm running away. I'm inverting. All right, so it gets worse. Allah got exhausted. Look, chapter 59, verse 4. That is by that they had exhausted Allah and his messenger. And whoever exhausts Allah, then surely is intense in subsequence. Okay. Again, the text seems very blasé. And the word is, if anyone is able to, I guess, read it like Brother Usama, or anyone who's confident in Arabic. Like this is an interesting expression. There you go.
Yeah. Well, it comes from Murad, so it is super literal. Maybe with a different gloss, it will have something that makes a little bit of sense. But for now, we know that Murad translates everything literally as the meaning of the word in the 7th century, or as close as possible to it. So we're going with this. And for anyone that says, no, this is translated in another manner, well, we have just seen that Allah is also hard. So, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. That might explain why he only has one leg and 2 right hands. Who knows? That sounds, poor fella. Yeah, kind of sus, eh? Kind of sus. All right. So, okay, so now it's going to get more fun. Allah is the truth. So chapter 31, verse 30, that is by that Allah is the truth. Now, that seems pretty black and white. And that what they evoke apart from him is invalid, and that Allah is the elevated, the large. No, okay, so let's follow. Let's just try to think logically about that, because I know that's sort of haram, but again, this is a problem, like we said, for the standard Islamic narrative. We've already saw it before, that Allah getting hurt, being thankful, getting exhausted. That doesn't sound like Sunni modern Islam to you, does it? Just on what we've already looked at previously. Very weird, very fishy. But let's just take the words for what it is. Okay, Allah is the truth. Okay, so if you hit next, we are going to revisit the Muhammad passage, chapter 47, verse 2. Okay, so we've already been, but that's it. And okay, what has been caused to continuously descend over Muhammad, and it is the truth from their Lord. Okay, so did Allah continuously descend over, or what? So Allah is from their Lord. So is Allah from Allah who descends? Okay, so that's just weird, isn't it? I'm just asking questions. So yeah, that's a very funny. So can Allah descend or not? I don't. This is just generating more questions, and we're only dealing with the text. We're not turning to Ibn Kathir or Tabari or anything else. So we're just saying, okay, you think the Trinity is not in the Quranic text speaks of Allah as a purely Unitarian being. Well, there's clearly problems with that, and it's just going to get worse and worse. So, yeah, and this is a funny thing which I'll get into later. If they want to say, okay, you need to interpret this verse in a poetic sense, then why don't I interpret that Allah is one deity in a poetic sense? So we can really play this game all night long if we want to. It's just going to get. This is for the benefit of you know, for Christian apologists, I want to one, you need to use some around translation, and just have fun with this, because clearly they can't tap dance anymore. We've got them backed up in the corner. There's no running away from this. So let's see if the standard modern Islamic narrative can handle the truth. To say, you can't handle the truth. All right. So yeah, I told you this is going to be fun. Everyone in the audience, yeah.
This is going to give me a lot of ideas of what to do for a thumbnail, but we will see. So let me just address a couple of things, because if anybody is reading this just from the English, they might actually say, okay, so that is by that Allah is the truth. Maybe they will read that and says, no, what he's saying is that the truth basically is with Allah, by Allah, which it would also be problematic. But that's not what it says in the Arabic. In the Arabic, in here, we have after Allah, huwa. This actually means he is. So if this was even more translated, it would be that is by that Allah, he is the truth. Okay, this is actually, it means he, and it appears twice. It appears here as well, and that Allah, he is the largely elevated. You could translate it like this because of the definite articles. So if in this verse, instead of Allah, if this was originally Jesus, it would make perfect sense. But if it says, and Jesus is the truth, it's like, yeah, that's in the Bible, blah, 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 and Jesus is largely elevated, it would make sense. These things applied to Allah in the Islamic sense doesn't work. But, and then furthermore down here, just like John, like you've said, when it says, and it is the truth, this it is the same word, is he, is huwa. So it means it or he, depending on the context. So the way that you have actually read it, if this is then about Muhammad, who is another title for another name for Jesus, then it would be, and he is the truth, but then you have from their Lord. This would make sense in a Trinitarian sense, because otherwise everything breaks. You're absolutely right. If Allah is the truth, and here Allah is the truth from their Lord, sorry, who is their Lord? Because Allah is meant to be the Lord. So this looks like it was very, very Trinitarian, and then they have started to add dots and dashes everywhere to hide it, but it seems to break. I think you have found two verses that have to be read one after another and might unlock a lot of the meaning. So well done.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, and we're just getting started, man. So yeah, the next one is going to be, this is going to be an enlightening passage. So it's going to be split over 2 slides. So okay. All right. Allah is the light. So this is chapter 24, verse verse 35. Allah is the light. Allah is the light of the skies and the earth. The lightness of his light is and in it is a lamp. The lamp is as if a shimmering planet being kindled from a blessed olive tree. Neither eastern nor western, its oil almost illuminates, even if no fire touches it. It light over light. Allah guides to his light, whoever he decides. And Allah drubs for likenesses for humans, and Allah is by everything knowledgeable. As Jay Smith says, too. That by itself is already pretty, cause a lot of damage with this one verse, can't we? Do you see the problem with
the only way to escape this is to say, no, it's metaphorical.
Okay, Allah is one deity, is metaphorical, so he is not literally the only deity. So okay, cool. All right, that's you really want to play that game? All right. I mean,
not me. You know how I feel about this, but you know that that's the answer. When there is something that just contradicts everything, no, you're taking it literally. It's supposed to be metaphorical, and it's like, how do you know what things are metaphorical? Because when it says that he doesn't have a companion, no, that's metaphorical. It's just a lot of nonsense. But I can see the titles that you're actually picking to choose to actually show in here. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from with all of this. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, yes. And so even in this passage as well, it's like the last bit says, Allah guides to his light. So wait, Allah is the light, and Allah guides to His light. So what? Wait a second.
Wait.
Yeah,
No.
wait on.
No.
How can there be light of light? And it even says it in the passage. Light over light, Allah guides. Okay, see where we're going with this? This is highly sus. Very, very suspicious. And so this is going to open up the fact that it's going to show unequivocally. We've already got 931, and we're actually going to revisit the parts around it, because 932 gets repeated in two of these passages. And there's an interesting thing is because again the light gets mentioned in another Muhammad passage or Muhammad passage. So if we take this with us, so it's a very clear. I mean, I don't think it can be any more obvious. Allah is the light of the sky and the earth. Okay, all right. Let's look at other passages. So chapter 9. If we hit the next slide, you'll see there's two passages. So there's two sus ones upside down. Okay, so that's 930, and you can see the Arabic. So before we okay, so 932. So we've already unpacked 931. Now we can see the context. Okay, they see as lords apart from Allah. So Allah wal Messiah, son of me, they will to extinguish the light of Allah by their mouths. Okay, that's pretty damaging because we already said, okay, Allah is the light, and someone's trying to extinguish or exhaust Allah by their mouth. And Allah refuses except that He perfects His light. So, hold on. Does Allah need to perfect Himself? How does that work? You see where this is going? And then you see in verse chapter 4. So chapter 4, which we've already unpacked 171 and 172. So now it continues. Like all this actually follows through what we've looked at in the last segment. But 174, O you humans, a proof from your Lord has already come to you, and we have descended an evident light unto you. So has an evident Allah been descended to us humans? Yeah, lots of eyebrow-raising things if you were to believe the modern Islamic narrative. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. So,
Okay, well,
yeah,
I think all of this is going to give me a nosebleed, man. So Allah is the
it
light.
is.
Also, what did we say? That He guides people. So He's the light. Also, He is bringing people to His light. Also, people try to extinguish His light by their mouths. God only knows how that works. How can somebody extinguish the light of Allah, which is also Allah? And then He
With your
perfects
mouth. Yeah.
He perfects
Yeah.
it, and then He sends down an evident light, which we don't know if the evident light is Allah Himself or it is a different light. I mean, he is the light, but also there is another light that comes down. This is getting very confusing.
Yes, this is getting very, very, very messy. If you want to be a Unitarian and say that that there is no I guess plurality within unity. So that's because basically that's what we say. If there's no distinct persons, then you're going to run into a lot of trouble. But that's these Dawagandists and the modern Islam of today want us all to believe that this Unitarian business. Well, the Quran ain't helping, and I think the copium is very strong with these folk, and yeah. So that's if you think that's bad, trust me, it's going to get worse. Yeah, it's going to get worse. Are you wanting a break, or do you want to keep hitting on? Because this is still, we're still on this topic. So if you hit next slide, you'll find something else. So again, just check, this is 932. Hit next, and you're going to see this is a very familiar passage. We've already looked at this passage in a very early episode. So this is chapter 61. Remember what we said about Muhammad being the resurrected Messiah? So Ahmed at the end of verse 6 clearly has to be speaking about Jesus. But I want us to look at verse 8 and compare that to this is chapter 61 on the left, verse 8, and spot the difference between that and 9 verse 32 on the right, because what we've highlighted there is chapter 9 verse 32 and chapter 61 verse 8. How about brother JC, you read out chapter 61 verse 8, and I'll read out 9. I'll read out the one on the right. So I'll go first.
61? Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So I'll go. I'll, in fact, in true fashion, so we're intellectually honest, we'll read the full passage. So I'll go first. So I'll start from 31. They took their rabbis and their monks as lords apart from Allah plus the Messiah, son of Maryam, and they were not commanded except to serve one deity. There is no deity except He, blah about what they partner. They, presumably about verse 31, they will to extinguish the light of Allah by their mouths. And Allah refuses except that He perfects His light, even if the cover is hated. And I'll stop there. So then, what I'll get you to actually, you know what, I'll continue reading the last bit, so that you could then you read 61 on the right, so on the left side. So He is He who sent His messenger by guidance and the conviction of truth to disclose it over all of the conviction, even if the partner in one's hated. Okay, so that's chapter 9 that I've read out on the right. So brother JC, over to you. Read what's on the left from the start, and then we'll see if we can spot the difference, because you can see where this is heading towards.
All right, well, let's see. So, and as Isa, son of Miriam, said, O sons of Israel, surely I am the messenger of Allah unto you, authenticating to what is between my two hands of the Torah, and jollifying by a messenger advancing from after me, whose name is Ahmed. So as soon as he came to them by the evidencers, they said, this is an evident sorcery. And who is darker than he who fabricated over Allah the lie, and he is being evoked unto submission, and Allah does not guide the darkening menfolk. They will to extinguish the light of Allah by their mouths again, and Allah is perfecter of His light, even if the coverers hate it. He is He who sent His messenger by guidance and the conviction of truth to disclose it over all of the conviction, even if the partnering ones hate it.
All right. So clearly you can see that based on chapter 9 on the right, there is no room for another person named Ahmed. That's just rubbish. So chapter 6, if we can and everyone in the chat and all the audience listening, so based on chapter 9 on the right, the light of Allah is clearly the Messiah, son of Mary, and therefore everything has to flow from one from the other. So you start from 31, and everything 32 and 33 reinforce what's said in verse 31. So talking about the right, what's on the right hand side. So therefore, chapter 61 is only still talking about Isa, the son of Maryam. And so all those verses are only speaking of Isa, son of Maryam, the one who fulfills the scriptures. I don't think it can get any more obvious. And that's not even addressing the light bulb or the elephant in the room, because look, so Allah is the light of the heaven, the skies and the earth, and then Allah has to perfect His light. But then it kind of sounds like the light of Allah was described as someone who is equal with Allah, but is not is not the same person as Allah yet. shares, in the same, at least the same qualities of Allah. Because, yeah, you see where this is going. It's very damaging if one was in the standard modern Islamic narrative, because there's no escaping that. This I don't see any room for a person in some desert proclaiming a new religion. But it just doesn't sound like anything like that's going on. But yeah, what's your thoughts, brother?
Well, quite a few things that I would discuss here. I think you're absolutely right, and well done for actually bringing all of these passages that talk about light. By the way, I hope that my internet connection just continues. At the moment, there is a little bit of stuff going on in here, so hopefully it will be fine. So anyway, this Ahmed thing. So when I had this live stream with Mel and Murad, Murad said, hey, there is this guy, Rashad Khalifa, who he described as a lunatic, but he said this verse, he actually translated it right, or rather he wasn't wrong. He translated this as, because Ahmed is not Muhammad. We are taking that as a name, and even Murad in his translation, he said whose name is Ahmed. However, it's like the verb form, or the, I don't know actually what is the correct term for it, but the way Rashad Khalifa translates this is advancing from after me, whose name will be even more praised. So this would be clearly Jesus talking about the Spirit. Nothing to do with a guy whose name will be Muhammad, but in here he's calling him Ahmad. There are two different characters. Also, if we consider that it is Jesus who is described as the Word of God and a spirit from him for some reason. And then later he's saying someone will come after him, like you said. It's certainly not going to be a guy who decides to be a prophet when he's 40 years old and he gets choked by an angel that doesn't introduce himself. No, none of those things make sense. We see that when Jesus says, the comforter, I will send you the comforter, that makes sense. And this is exactly what he's saying here. The one that comes after me, whose name will be even more praised. We have in the Bible that the one unforgivable sin is to blaspheme against the Spirit. So all of those things make sense in a Trinitarian sense, absolutely no sense in an Islamic sense. And you're right, every time that he's talking about the light, I'm just thinking, yeah, okay, all of this is Jesus. Maybe sometimes it could be a reference to the Spirit. But I think this sounds to me like the most Trinitarian book since the Bible.
100%. And then even going back to, blaspheming against the Holy Spirit, that sounds an awful lot like trying to extinguish the light of God, with your mouth by denying. See, again, what did what was the context of that passage? Basically, the Jerusalem elders in the Gospels said, after witnessing with their own eyes, with their very eyes, Jesus performing a miracle, a sign, that is like, oh, this is the work of Beelzebub, the work of Satan. So ascribing Jesus, who claims to be the Messiah, to be sent from God the Father, and saying that that's satanic, I don't know, that sounds like trying to extinguish, God's light by your mouth, because you're claiming something that's not true. And then that will make sense of verse 7, who is darker than who fabricates over Allah the lie when you're being called to receive the gospel, evoked under submission. So we can even read verse 7 as the context of 9:31. So, I mean, who else other than the sons of Israel have rabbis? Yeah, you can see the parallel. I mean, there you go. And 9:31 doesn't leave any room for some other, human being. I mean, when is it okay to call a human being, a created human being, the light of Allah? If I can get an answer from some Sunni scholar or some expert, that would be very nice, but it's probably not going to happen. He'll probably hear crickets, just like when people try to debate the historical existence of Momo. Yeah, if they can't even do that, I don't think we're going to get an answer about to a serious question about the text that's right in front of us. Yeah, isn't it? That's a very interesting
Also,
thing. Yeah, that's
we'll add from this context here, where it's actually calling Jesus Lord together with God, and then one deity. It's like, okay, that's very Trinitarian, just from the offset. Then when we take these ones into context, when they are saying they are fabricating things about God, it's like, okay, let's think about this. If this book didn't mention Jesus as Lord as it is there, you would say, okay, so maybe this was Jewish writings denying Jesus, and those who fabricate things then would be the Christians who are saying that Jesus is God. But it's the other way around. Jesus is Lord according to the Quran. So when it's talking about those who fabricated lies and those who try to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths, it would be a polemic against the Jews saying, no, 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 he was not the Messiah, particularly not even not divine, but not the Messiah. We are still waiting for the Messiah who comes, and so on. So just by the context, if Jesus is Lord and there are people fabricating stories, is like, okay, so this is actually attacking the rabbis.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and this is targeting the rabbis of the sons of Israel. So you remember, this is not actually saying all the sons of Israel, but no, this is a specific group of people. And that will be, I guess you could say, a foretaste of what's the episode that's coming up next. Because what does it mean to be a coverer and a darkener? But it's all referring to a specific group of people within the sons of Israel. So it's very specific who it's addressing, and it's very on the nose when we look at the true context of this passage. See, what I'm trying to do with this,
Yeah, just one other point, that I think probably in the Arabic, all of these words that says light is probably the word nur, which then when they are creating the stories about Muhammad, they make him all shiny, all full of light. It comes because of this, because they are exegeting all of this about, well, it has to be their guy. So in the traditions, as time goes by, they make him more and more radiant, as in physically radiant, as opposed to taking this in the simple understanding, which would be, yeah, Jesus is the one that conquers death and is basically bringing everyone out of the darkness. It would be the obvious thing. But in the traditions, they make Muhammad shiny.
It is, yeah. And that's the funny thing, is not only do they make him shiny, I do remember that Brother Saint Murad said in many of his streams as well, that the word nur in Arabic specifically is referring to moonlight. And that's significant, because what they do is they actually make their Momo, their Hijazi prophet, white, actually like white skin. And so, yeah, not only radiant, but they specifically make him like light skinned and all that. So, yeah, that's the whole thing about. Yeah, it really does create great wormholes. Yeah, and more holes, of course, in the standard modern Islamic narrative. But yeah, so there you go. There you go. All right, this is so. Are you happy about how much we've covered with this point? With this one point, I mean, this is huge. But what we're going to go next is we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're actually going to make a Quranic argument. Oh, you have to hit next again. There's some sort of play up. There's no, yeah, yes.
Okay, let me
It
say,
sums up.
I don't know how you've done this animation. This is news to me, but I'm so going to copy it because I really like it.
Excellent. All right, I'll show you. It's a pretty cool feature. So this this one again is another Muhammad revisited passage. So what did I say? Yeah, this is a fun one. So I'm actually going to address this passage twice. But what I want to cover is we is Allah. All right. So chapter 3, verse 144 to 145 and 148. So just look at the yellow and the green. I've deliberately put them in different colors so that you really won't, you can't unsee it. So everyone who's watching and everyone who will ever watch this, you in the chat, you're not going to unsee this afterwards. So, okay, look in the yellow. We've already addressed what this whole Muhammad was not accept a messenger. Messengers have already vacated from before him. Oh wait, where did we hear that before? Yeah, you heard that in chapter 5, verse 75, and we covered that before. So clearly, this is unequivocally that the Muhammad has to be the resurrected Messiah. It's clearly Isa, non-inverted inquisitor. We had some fun doing some inquisiting. So please don't invert this last part. Hey, hang on. He will never harm Allah a thing, but Allah can get hurt. So, okay, deal with that. Yeah. I only just noticed it now, eh? That's a bit eyebrow raising. Get out of here. Get out of here, mate. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh.
This is starting to look starting to smell very fishy at the least. But yeah, so if you think that's bad, now it gets even worse. So the yellow bit, Allah will soon apportion the thanking ones. Okay, look, I mean, that doesn't sound unreasonable, right? I mean, remember, he is thankful, but Allah says thank you. Allah is thankful, as we saw before, and he will soon apportion the thanking ones. Will he apportion himself? That's a very interesting question. Very dangerous question, I might add. But there we go. Where we get answers is the other thing. But okay, so look, that's in the yellow. But now let's go back in the green. So it goes, whoever wills the requital of the one close by, underlined. And then, so I've also underlined requital of the last one, because there it goes, we will advance him from it, okay? And whoever wills the requital of the last one, we will advance him from it. And, get this, we will soon apportion the thanking ones. Hang on, do you see where this is going?
No, what are you doing? No.
Yep, and it's gonna, as Lloyd says, my brain just hurts. So yes, if you click next, you can see it, and that's just 2 verses. Now for the finish him. So Allah advanced them the requital of the one close by, and the goodness and the requital of the last one, and the requital of the last one, and Allah, loves the good doers. So which one's which? Is it Allah or we? Yeah.
No.
So,
no, you should have done this. Oh, brother. No. Okay. Yeah. Fine. By the way, our brother Norman, he actually wants to do a session speaking about this very specific thing of verses where Allah goes from singular to plural. So that hopefully will be like an amazing show as well, because is this I knew that the thing was all over the place, but I didn't realize that it was this obvious, like back to back. Like this is not jumping from one surah to another, it's back to back. It goes from singular to plural. And as much as we are told every time that the we is the royal we, like for example, I use the royal we all the time, but that is a modern thing. In the 7th century Arabia, that was not attested. If you said we, it actually meant plural. It was not, the royal we appears later. So in here, when it says singular, is singular, and when it says plural, it's not royal singular, say royal we. It actually means we. It is plural. Oh no, this is so Trinitarian.
It is, and this can't get any worse, right? Surely it can't get any worse.
No, it can't get any worse. No, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, please, brother Norman. Oh, Aki Norman, don't get angry at me. Just, yeah. All right, this is, I can't remember what if the, so this is just the start. So take this on board. This is chapter 3. This is the classic Muhammad passage. Hit next, and there might be a bit of a pun. So we continue. All right, so yes, pun might be intended. So remember when I said about chapter 18, verse 50? So this is Surah 18. And what we said earlier about the, it actually goes back to the very part one of this episode, or part one of this topic. It says, and as we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam, and that word is sujud. Okay, that's pointed out in the arrow. So if you click next, though, I said before that this story gets repeated, but so it's actually it's so emphasized that it's repeated 5 times. So we're going to go through each and every one of them, just to make sure we're not missing any context, and just to make sure we're not being proof texting and being intellectually dishonest and all that. Because the sheikhs, they would never do that. The scholars of Islam, they don't do it. So we need to try to match their standard. So let's be intellectually honest. So start with chapter 2, and 33 to 35. So he said, "O Adam," you've done many episodes on this. He said, "O Adam, inform them by their names." So as soon as he informed them by their names, he said, "Didn't I say to you that I surely know the absence of the skies and the earth?" Okay, so in the yellow, we should know who that is. That's not Adam speaking. So he said, "O Adam," has to be someone else, right? What do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have already looked at the blue and my head is hurting. No.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's a hurting and spinning. Okay, yeah. And yeah, verse 33. And as we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam. So they prostrated, except the bliss. Yep. And we said, "O Adam, dwell the garden and thy maiden." Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's getting a bit of hot water, isn't it? If you thought chapter 3 was something else, well, yeah. Now we're gonna just take a well-known story that is very loved about Adam and the names, and all right. So that's yeah, and we already saw 1850 that said we. So yeah, let's pedal to the metal, shall we? And I think everyone in the chat's in suspense. So let's give them what they want. So that's chapter 2, verse 30. Okay, hit next again, 15, and hit next. So basically, 28 is again the yellow. So I'll read it. And as thy Lord, okay, I think that should be obvious as who thy Lord is. Said to the angels, surely I am creating a brackets mortal having skin. That word in Arabic is bashar, from clay and from toothed. Unknown. So when I evened him out and blew into him from my breath, cough spirit, then fall to him as prostrators. Ooh. Now there's a special reason why I highlighted that. Verse 30. So all the angels prostrated combinedly. That's not there for no reason, except Iblis. He refused and to be, and then okay. We said, oh no, he said, "Oh Iblis." Oh, okay. So in this passage there's clearly a I, thy Lord, I am doing this. So if they want, and then he said, so if they want to say that the we includes the divine council, so this is trying to go back to a standard Judeo-Christian theology that it's God and the close angels. But so all of the angels prostrated combinedly. So did the angels say, "Oh, that's all prostrate to Adam," or do you see where we're going with this?
Yes, sorry, I was just a little bit confused there for a second, because I thought that the problem with the I and we, or he and we, was from this verse, but no, we're taking actually everything on the screen together, where we have the same story, and then we have basically God, and he said, basically thy Lord said, he said, and then he's speaking in the first person, and that's fine. But when we look at what had happened before, it is we said. So yeah, the confusion is not this. These verses here are adding more to what the previous ones from before, and we can see it keeps going from first person to third person to second person to all of the persons. Oh my goodness me, too many persons.
Yep, yep, exactly. And trying to rescue and say the angels are part of the we in the other passage is not going to help you, because chapter 15, verse 30 at the bottom says, "So all the angels prostrated combinedly." I don't know. Does all mean all, or is it just 99% of the angels, or I'm pretty sure there's only one person one of the supposed angels that didn't prostrate. So interesting. There is something that I actually want to, and I think this is the perfect thing to clip, so to make it short, and so for you, the audience, everyone who's listening, yeah, what are your thoughts first before we go, because it's going to refer back to something we said earlier.
Well, this one about all the angels prostrated combinedly acceptably is he refused to be with the prostrators. That one I wouldn't actually. I could actually explain it away, but one of the reasons is that I'm just still completely hooked on all of these things where you have the same story, and then sometimes Elias is speaking as I, sometimes he's referred to as he, and then it's also we. Like, where is the consistency? And like I said before, the royal we didn't exist. This is confusing. It's all like so Trinitarian. I just wonder if the meaning of the people writing this, there were two different traditions, which it could happen because they are as well very different places in the Quran, or if they had different meanings. Like, for example, if it is he speaking in the third person singular, is meant to be God the Father, or if it is meant to be the Word of God or something like that. And when it says we, it means something a little bit different. I don't know if they had in mind two different, say, personas or entities doing the talking, or if it is just confusion. For them, it was the same to say God said or we said. Is all the same because they are thinking about it from a Trinitarian point of view. I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, and you're gonna be blown away. So this is where we can clip this. So when it says, so this applies specifically to the chapter 15, verse 28 to 33. So the chapter 15 that talks about the story of Adam and I gave you a hint of it in the earlier part of the episode, where it says, okay, the likeness of Isa at Allah is as the likeness of Adam. So he created him from the dust and said be, and so he was. And then when you combine that with this story here, if you're seriously gonna take this if the standard Islamic response to Christianity is you shouldn't be worshipping a human, well, get this. Chapter 15, verse 20, verse 28 to 33. So look at verse 31. How Iblis refuses to be with the prostrators. So it goes, "Oh Iblis." So apparently Allah says, "Oh Iblis, what is it to thee that thou art not the prostrators who prostrate to Adam?" He said, "I was not to prostrate to a mortal having skin, whom thou hast created from clay and from tooth." Hang on a second. Do you see where I'm going with this? If you're going to say, don't worship Jesus, aren't you just saying what Iblis just said?
I know exactly what you're saying. From the
That's a
narrative,
very
the way they would explain this away is by saying something just like, well, them prostrating to Adam doesn't mean that they worship Adam. You guys worship Jesus, but the angels don't worship Adam. They just prostrate to him. But we know that there are problems, many problems with that. But that's how they would excuse it, by saying it says prostrate, it doesn't say worship. And Islam is all about worshiping the one God who hasn't decided if he's an I or a we.
yeah, clearly, and yeah, it's clearly going through some very hurt feelings and some identity problems. And I don't know, will Allah ever get enlightenment? That's a very good question as well. or is he too exhausted? Yeah.
It actually sounds like multiple personality disorder, except that that actually doesn't exist. We see it in the movies and stuff, but multiple personality disorder doesn't actually exist, which is unfortunate because I like the movies that play with that. But yeah, if that were a thing, I would say that that's what this character is actually experiencing. It's a little bit confused. Maybe he needs a break or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and before we move it, just one last point. So that word, as I said before, bashar, which is a mortal having skin in the brackets. So, and this could be homework. Try to find if that is ever said about Isa in the Quran directly, because you'll actually find it's not ever said about Isa. You'll never find that term directly applied to him in any meaningful sense, because that's seriously, if they wanted to make a Jesus only a created human, they needed to use that word. They desperately would have had to put that word in somewhere where it mentions the verse about Isa, but you don't find that. So if anything, it's only just making the Trinitarian, biblical Trinitarian case within the Quranic text stronger and stronger, because it's really what's not there, what's not being said, that's kind of deafening. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how this word is being used. Actually, I will check, I will make a note, and I will investigate. But even if it appears in the Quran somewhere where it says about Jesus described in this manner, that wouldn't actually really mean anything. It would just be, say, in this apologetics realm where they are talking, say, Christians and Jews. It would be in the context of the Jews saying, so are we going to worship a mortal? And obviously the answer would be no, he's not. It's simply this. So I don't know if it appears elsewhere in the Quran. I'll check. Maybe it's there in hidden. But if it appears, I would venture a guess that it would appear as a polemic against Jesus, which of course the writers of the Quran don't really agree with. Hence why they write this. So it wouldn't be conclusive either way, but I'll make a note of that and have a look at that expression.
Excellent. Okay, because yeah, I think you'll love what you'll find. But so, how's your brain feeling? Is your brain it's not hurting anymore, right? Have you recovered?
No, absolutely not. It's getting worse. So
it sounds great. It sounds like you want more then.
Yes, I need more. Give me more.
All right, exactly. So what did I say? Exposure therapy. You just need just a little bit more, and then you'll be cured. All right. So two more, or there's just one more. All right. So chapter 7. Let's just go through this and have a lot of fun with that. So chapter 7, which is the same chapter that has verse 157. So this comes just a little bit earlier in that chapter. So starting from verse 11. And indeed, not just short, indeed, we have already created you, thereafter imaged you, thereafter said to the angels, prostrate to Adam. So they prostrated, except Iblis. He was not from the prostrators. He said, what prevented thee from prostrating as I have commanded thee? He said, I am more charitable than him. Thou hast created me from fire and created him from mud. All right. So you see the blue and the yellow highlighted? What do you think? Spot the difference.
Unfortunately, yes, I can see that.
You can't unsee this. Yeah.
And I need a drink. Okay. Something interesting. It's probably nothing to do with this, but in the apocryphal story, I think it's of the life of Adam and Eve. It's called something like that, which we covered on the channel with our brother Shai. The story, it is one of the angels who actually speaks with Satan, with Iblis. I can't remember if it is Michael or Gabriel, but it's one of the main angels who actually says, why did you not prostrate? So if this was inspired by some other stories, it is possible, maybe, that they would understand that in this case, he said it would have changed. Now is no longer God. They are familiar with the story. And this is like Michael or something. It could be, I know it is far-fetched because the text doesn't say it, and I don't like to go down that path, but the apocryphal story on this particular case, it is one of the angels speaking with Iblis. So maybe the whole thing is a mess for reasons that we will never figure out. Just saying.
Yeah, well, that's it. And just saying, it can't get worse than this, right? It really can't. I mean, see, this is the space of 2 verses. Like, the we is in verse 11, and then the I is in verse 12. I mean, no, pretty harmless, right?
So
Or
far,
is it?
every time you said that it cannot get any worse, you immediately make it worse. So I'm bracing for impact.
Yeah, please don't hate me. All right, so hit next. So that's verse. So this is just one verse, 1761. Okay. Would you like the honor of reading it, or shall I? Maybe if you read it, you'll have the therapy to just get it off your chest.
Okay, yeah, let's try with that approach.
Let's
So
see.
verse 61, and as we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam, so they prostrated except Iblis. He, Iblis, said, I am to prostrate to whom thou, no, whom thou hast created into mad. No. And then the next one, he said, did I show thee? Again in the singular, it goes to the singular. Why are they doing this?
Yeah, is the author like, I don't know, is the author all there in the head, or is this, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Because you'd think the author is quite adept, or the scribe who's writing, writing the beautiful Arabic language of the dots. So it just cannot be replicated. You can't bring a surah like that. I mean, surely they wouldn't make mistakes. No, they wouldn't do that, right? Not in the same verse.
I think, John, you have just proven beyond any doubt that the Quran was written before they invented proofreading.
Oh yeah, I guess Microsoft spell check wasn't invented then. Yeah. Poor, and guess who suffers the worst? Poor Allah. Poor Allah. Yeah.
Don't hurt him, but this is hurting me. Okay, fine.
Yes, and I'm sure everyone in the audience take a deep breath and just know that this can only get better. This can only get better, surely. Indeed, this will only get better.
Oh, you're gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Indeed, and indeed we have already covenanted unto Adam from before. Then he forgot, and we did not find for him resoluteness. Oh, disappointing. And as we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam, who has no resoluteness. Okay, so I shouldn't be doing this. So they prostrated, except Iblis, who refused. So we said, oh, Adam. Yeah, okay, cool. So that was chapter 20, verse 115 to 117, and yeah, it's a bit on the nose, isn't it?
Okay, I like that. That's a good one.
Excellent. So yeah, we had to end on a bit of a bang with that, and I'm sure hopefully everyone's Pepsi hasn't run out. We'll have a bit of fun while I just talk through this next one. So I'm going to put two different passages, and again, in the interest of being intellectually honest, we just want to give the text a fair go. Okay? So the first one is chapter 43, verse, specifically focusing on verse 84, but just to give some added context, and the Arabic, of course, to the next, and then chapter 2, verse 163. So tell you what, how about you read one and I'll read one. Which one do you want to read, JC? And I'll read the other one, just to even it out a bit.
Okay, up to you. Your call.
All right, so I'll take the long part, which is chapter 43, and I'll just read from 81 to 86, so people can just get the gist of it, and then I'll get you to read straight up chapter 2, verse 163 on the right. So I'll go the left, and then you go right. All right. So chapter 43, verse 84. Say, if there was for our Rahman a birthed one, then I am the first of servants. Question mark. Lord of the skies and the earth, Lord of the trellis, about what they describe. So leave them behind, wading and playing until they be made to encounter their day, which they are promised. Verse 84. And it is he whom in the sky is a deity, and in the earth is a deity, and he is the wise, the knowledgeable. And blessed is he for him is the kingdom of the skies and the earth, and what is between them, and at him is the knowledge of the hour, and unto him he will be returned, and those whom they invoke apart from him do not own intercession. Okay, over to you on the right.
Right. So, and well, thank you for giving me just the short one. That actually alleviates a little bit of my suffering. So, 163 to 163, and your deity is one deity, no deity except He, Al-Rahman, Ar-Rahman, the Merciful.
All right, so I think you can see where I'm going with this, with verse 84, because this is highly problematic. How is it that he's a deity, in the sky is a deity, and in the earth is a deity, when there's only one deity? That just does not gel well at all. Like, that's very suspicious, to say the least.
This would make sense, obviously, in a Trinitarian sense, when we have prophecies, and then we have as well in the Gospels, Jesus being the full authority over the heavens and the earth given to him. So then that would make perfect sense. This would be interpreted in that light. But in this context, I don't know. But the thing that I find just confusing is that we keep reading before we, and now it says, except it is he. Is it he or is it we? Why does it not say, and your deity is one deity, not deity except we, Ar-Rahman? This is because there is the speaker describing God, and then when God is speaking, sometimes he's speaking in the singular, sometimes in the plural. It's just confusing. This is a mess.
Yep, it's an absolute mess. And if they want us to see, I actually can fix the mess using the biblical narrative. And so this is where I'm going to step in and to say this. So we call this Quranic endgame. What I'm going to say is this is what I'm going to propose is, and I'm going to challenge, the standard Islamic narrative, a scorched earth policy. This is the Quranic ultimatum. And it's not coming from me personally, this is coming from the text. Because if you want to take the modern Unitarian Islamic interpretation and reading, okay, you want to take the Unitarianism, you have two choices. You either turn to the Bible and Judeo-Christian theology to save you, and you're done. You've left. You're basically a heretic, and that's going to get you into a lot of deep trouble, and it's going to make your brain hurt, and you're going to suffer for it. Or you deny the very text of the Quranic text in front of you, which is clearly from the Arabic. So I don't know. That's a very hard. I would not want to be in this somewhat of a horrible conundrum. So yeah. Just know that if you're Muslim hearing this, we're doing this out of love. We want to help you. So there is a solution for verse 84. It's in Genesis, and that's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to keep going. What do you guys? What do you reckon? Shall we keep running?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that this is actually the approach that our brother Norman is actually following. He's reading the Quran and realizing that it is very Trinitarian, and that the Rasul is not the one that we are told in the Hadiths, that it is all about Jesus and so on. So with this in mind, I think something that has to be done is to do something to show that the way to fix the Quran, basically the Quran has many holes, and they have to be fixed by putting the Trinity back as opposed to writing it off, which you can't. It's actually in there. So maybe a session based on everything that you are finding here and saying basically what you said. The Quran can be fixed if you actually understand that it is Trinitarian. Without it, there are too many plot holes. So fixing the Quran using the right reading, and maybe I will actually take a lot of stuff that you're actually showing here and start preparing something. And maybe when you have the time, this is now for next year, we can actually do a full session where we do this, the same thing that you're doing, with the framing of the Quran can be fixed. At the moment, there are many problems, but we can fix it. Okay, we can fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. We or I? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Get it? All right. Before we don't click next. Yeah, you know what you've said has inspired me to be merciful, because I was not going to read a Bible verse in this part of this episode. But let's be merciful, shall we? And so okay. So look. So read. So look. Verse 84. Okay. Now let me read Genesis chapter 19. Verse 24. Okay, so this is to give you the context. This is speaking of, and the story is somewhat preserved in the Quranic text as well. It's talking about Abraham, who speaks with God, and God destroys Sodom and Gomorrah, and rescues Abraham's nephew Lot, or Lut. Okay, so just hear this carefully. So Genesis 19, verse 24. So in the context of what we're seeing here, that in the sky is a deity and in the earth is a deity. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. There you go. I will leave this with you all. Yeah. I think Brother Norman will like that, because when you see Genesis 19:24, there's clearly the Lord raining sulfur from the Lord, from the heavens. So, and to put that in context, the Lord who reigns. Yeah, the Lord was with Abraham in Genesis 18. So we've got to go back to the Genesis narrative, and I guess the hint. Ar-Rahman is Jesus, who before his incarnation, who speaks to all the patriarchs. But I think it still goes. You know, there's clearly an us within this. There's a plurality within this. There's both plurality and singularity that is quite beautiful, and that is explained in the standard biblical Christian narrative. Cool. Any further comments, or shall we? Yeah.
Yes, that those things didn't make sense until Jesus. So there were all of these prophecies that absolutely made no sense, and the Jews still wrote them down and copied them and maintained them, even though they were complicated. And it's only after we get to Jesus that things become clear. The other one, the obvious one, is about the prophecy about the crucifixion, which is actually written before crucifixion is invented. So, but it is only after Jesus comes that people can go, oh, that's what it means. But they kept copying it. They actually didn't lose that. It made zero sense until it did make sense. So what you have just said about how can Yahweh in the heavens, on earth, rain fire from Yahweh in the heavens, is like, yes, that would not make sense until it does. And the Quran does have this plurality everywhere. So yeah, well done. We can continue with this pain.
All right. Yep. Yeah, you guys are. Yep. Just testing your strength. That's it. Yeah. Let's do it. So Allah does what now?
What is this? No.
Okay, I'll get you to read it.
Allah has written, I will Allah has written, I will indeed overcome, and my messengers, surely Allah is powerful, dear.
So yeah. Do we really need any? I wonder what did he use biro? Did he use ink or pencil? No, I'm not being funny. I'm just curious. And did he? Yeah, did he store that data in the cloud? Because yeah, look, yeah, you can see what I've highlighted is kitab. That's the where it says kitab. The first word on the right that's what it means to write. So like we keep saying illegibles of the writing, so written. So yeah, kitab, Allah, and then what he's written. Yeah, the real question is, yeah.
I don't understand the sentence. So Allah has written, so this is then perfect tense. So you could say, to make it a bit easier to read, Allah wrote, I will indeed overcome I and my messengers. Surely Allah is powerful. So assuming that the sentence breaks after messengers, what does it mean that he wrote, I will indeed overcome I and my messengers, as in I will overcome me and my messengers? What does it mean? I'm confused.
Yeah, and I just want to know, has the ink dried? Because it says he's written. That implies he just written it 2 minutes ago. Or, yeah. Is the ink still drying? I'm just curious. No. I want to be generous and think that he's written everything that he said, that his, he, she, it, they,
No.
them, I mean, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
it gets worse. Okay, is this supposed to be written, to be read? If it is Allah wrote, and then this is what he wrote, basically from I will up to messengers. If Allah wrote, I will indeed overcome I and my messengers, as in him and his messengers, that means that the one doing the overcoming is actually God, him and his messengers, right? But why would Allah says, I will overcome? It's like, you are God, dude. Like, get the point. Of course, you can just destroy everything. If this was about Jesus, and he would say, me and my messengers will overcome, that would be a call to the apostles, and it would make sense. Only God can have messengers. So the one doing the overcoming has to be Allah, or in this case, Jesus. But I don't understand it. It looks like a verb is missing here. I will indeed overcome, comma, I and my messengers, what? Overcome? Will overcome? You know what I mean? So how, if this is Jesus and his messengers, the apostles, would sort of make sense, but how do you make sense about from the Islamic point of view? What does this even mean? I'm really confused.
And actually, the tense as well says, I will. So has he overcome yet? Because it seems like it hasn't happened yet. Like has he done it yet? Does he need help? Yeah. And what is he overcoming? Is he overcoming his hurt? Maybe he has to overcome his hurt feelings. Because, you can hurt Allah and his messenger. And you can exhaust Allah and his messenger. So,
yeah. And also, why did he write it down? He can just overcome. And it could be, Allah said, I will overcome. That is good enough. Why it has to be about writing? Like he, throughout the Quran, it keeps saying, Allah said this, or we said this. Why in this case it goes to, he wrote that he will overcome, and the messengers, certainly the I actually has to be God, because it says I and my messengers. But why written when he doesn't need to write it? He can just say, I don't know. This is, oh no, my head is hurting.
Yeah. Well, I think I hear that it will get better. So shall we jollify you with news that you will indeed overcome your head hurting?
Yeah, joyfy me.
That's bad.
Good. Oh, prayer
So remember,
time.
Allah
Like it
does
already.
what now? Yeah. So let's revisit chapter 33. See, I'm trying to fulfill the word that I've spoken in the previous episode. Surely, not surely. So 33, 56, and also 42. And remember, this is going to have overlap. So surely Allah and His angels pray over the Prophet. O you who believed, pray over him. Okay. Okay, as you can see that red arrow. Um, so that's there in the Arabic, just to show that it's clearly there. That's the word salat. So there you go. Allah and His angels pray. Okay, that's verse 56. Verse 41 to 43. So, O you who believe, remember Allah, because remember Allah prays and His angels pray. Much remembrance. And we've already covered the bulk of it. What I want to draw your attention, everyone, is to what is sus. It is He who? Who's He? Who prays over you and His angels.
What?
Um,
Wait. In the Quran, every time that it says this expression, it is He or He is He who is always God. It's supposed to be always God. And then who prays over you and His angels. It makes no sense. How do you make sense of? I mean, I just did a show on the mistranslations, and I mentioned briefly about this whole thing about praise. It means pray. It always means pray, except when it is about God, they translate it as blessing, which is obviously not true. But it makes me think whether the original word didn't even mean praying at all. Because how do you, can you actually make sense? Please make it make sense. What is this about?
yeah. And then so Allah prays over you and His angels. So let's just assume that's geographical. So He's literally above. So Allah is there praying, and then His angels are below Him praying. For what? To bring you. So He's praying over you to bring you out from the darknesses unto the light. And what did we say about the light? I think there was a verse a very beautiful verse in chapter 21 that says, Allah is the light. So Allah prays over you and His angels to bring you out of the darkness unto Allah. And this is all just getting a bit, I don't know. It's just weird, isn't it? What are we going to do with this?
I don't know. And this is then goes to past tense. Why was He merciful by the believers? And he's praying. This is all very confusing. Why is He praying over you and His angels? These angels actually could have been as well mistranslation and be something more like messengers, but it doesn't really matter. God shouldn't actually be praying. In Christianity, there is no problem. You would actually, if this was Christian, it's like, okay, Jesus prayed and prayed a lot. And he's like, yeah, but the Allah from Islam cannot pray. Yet the Quran says something different. Sus.
Yeah, very sus. Yes, very, very, very sus. So, okay, surely it's just it's just one or two mistakes, right? There's not that. There can't be anything else, right? No, it's not going to happen. Tell you what. So Allah takes a bow. So this is one of my favorite passages. So Surah 22, and it's verse 18. And I love how there's a little graphic at the bottom of verse 18. So, did thou not see? Can't you see that Allah prostrates to Him, whoever is in the skies, whoever's in the earth? Oh, okay, whoever is in the skies, because there's a deity in the sky and whoever and the deity in the okay, and the sun and the moon and the sun, the mountains and the trees and the crawling beings and many from the humans, and many truthened over him was the torment. And whoever Allah debilitates, then there is no honoring one for him. Surely Allah does what he decides. Oh, who am I to judge?
Okay, so Allah prostrates to him, to somebody else. He doesn't prostrate just, with his one leg is probably a little bit difficult, but still, it's prostrates to someone. Oh no.
In the skies, in the earth. Yep. And it's that same word in Arabic. So you can see the, yes, that sounds kind of, because it's the
Right.
word
I see Murad
sujud.
has actually underlined that one. Like, hey guys, there's a big problem here. I have to check the translators and see how they rendered this one, how they got out of it.
Oh, you're going to have a lot of fun. I want to check out Usama Dakdok's translation as well. That would be actually, you know what? If you can just wait, no, I'll keep talking while I get the I'll retrieve it, because I've actually got the physical copy, and trust me, it's an investment. So, and everyone who's listening, I always say like, okay, only use the Murad translation, and always have, but you actually need the Usama Dakdok's generous Quran, because it actually does have the everything that's in the question marks will actually tell you what that word is. So, for example, Shekinah, or this other word for like knife, which is an obscure word that comes from Ethiopic or Hebrew, and etc. etc. So I've actually got it with me. So chapter 22, verse 18. Let me put my screen down. And hold on, I shall just put briefly put this on, just so you can see that it is there. Is that?
Hold that. Let me see actually how I can do that, because how do I do that? I just want to show you. Okay, yeah, we can see it. We can see it. Yep, Usamas.
Yep. Okay, so chapter 22, verse 18. So 18 is okay. So okay. Okay, so that's interesting. Have you not seen that who is in the heavens and who is on the earth, and the sun and the moon and the stars and the mountains and the trees and the creatures, and many of the people worship Allah, and many of the torment is established against him, and whomever Allah humiliates, so he will not have anyone to give him honor. Surely Allah does what he wills. Yeah, that is very interesting how it's not translated the same way. There you go.
Well, what I would comment on this is that this is supposed to be a rhetorical question. Actually, it begins with Alam, but the answer to, did you not see Allah prostrate? The answer is like, no, nobody saw Allah prostrates, not according to Islam, not according to anything. Allah means something specific. And if they're asking people, did you not see Allah prostrates? Is like, people would be like, no. Why are you asking us if we've seen? What are you talking about? It's not like they have a television and they can just go and rewatch something. It's insane. What an insane sentence.
It is. It just sounds like a Dawa again. Did you not see? You see? You see? Well, I did not see that one coming, that's for sure.
Did you see a mountain that proves Allah and the religion of Islam? And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? Yeah, those sort of sentences appear. Like with the Quran, you have these mukatat, these disjointed letters. So basically letters that used to make sense and then they lost the meaning. And they point at that, which is a very clear, obvious human error. And they say, no, the reason that we don't know the meaning of these things is because magic, is because of God. This proves that Islam is true. And it's like, dude, it simply proves that it used to have meaning and you guys lost it because your oral tradition actually was terrible. So it's not rocket science. Anyway, sorry, I just had to say that.
Oh yes, yeah. You're just having too much fun, aren't you? So Allah doing sujud, and yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Is that sus or not?
Very,
Look,
very.
surely Allah does whatever He wants.
I actually have to run this one again. So yeah, he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to prostrate to him, you are no one to tell him that Allah cannot prostrate to him. He can do it. Wallahi, it's all good. Okay.
Exactly. If He wants to be sus, let Him be sus. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well. Okay. So you're going to get much comfort from this next one. The end is nigh. So repent, O Allah.
Oh no.
See? Okay, so remember the chapter 33? It's very famous for the Muhammad. It's a Muhammad passage. So yes, and there is two problematic things, but we're just going to deal one at a time. So it can't get worse. Don't worry. No problems.
Famous
All
last
right, so
words.
exactly. Remember, Allah does what He wants. See, look, it says, for Allah to apportion the authentic ones by their authenticity and torment the hypocritical expenders if He decided or repents over them. Surely Allah was forgiving, merciful. No? If He decided, sure. Or He could repent. So who do you think is repenting in this passage here in 33?
Well, the only thing I can think of is that this word is not repent, and they have put the diacritical marks in very weird manner to come up with a word that they would rather suffer the humiliation of having Allah repenting as opposed to letting people read the original. That's the only thing that I can think of, because if these people are in the 7th century, in any context, why would you say that? It just makes absolutely no sense, unless they're trying to hide something even worse. And I could be completely wrong, but yeah, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Remember, if He decided, and who is He? Is He He? He is He. He. I'm having too much fun with this.
No, he's we.
Oh, that's so much better. All right. Well, remember, this is nothing sus. So, shall, would you like to read it, or shall I read it? There's no judgment.
Okay. Let's try. Let me give it a go. So, yes, the last one or all three?
Let's go all three.
Anyway.
Just don't say three.
So yeah, I didn't say meh. I will just actually block that. I will do a beeping effect so that people don't hear me say the forbidden number. So indeed, Allah is thankful. We've established that one before. So He's thankful, knowledgeable. Surely those who mute what we have descended from the evidencers and guidance from after we have evidenced it for the humans in the writing, those Allah curses them, and the cursers cursed them. Wow. Sorry, let me read that again. Those Allah curses them, and the cursers curse them, except those who have repented and corrected and evidenced. So those I repent over them, and I am the continuously repenting, the merciful. Oh boy. So if now this is talking about I, even if you try to interpret it as this is now Muhammad saying the words, which wouldn't make sense in Islam, it would, well, the I, the repenting, the merciful, that is God. That is the titles of God. Oh no, this is bad. This is very bad. I can't take it.
Yep. Don't worry. There's definitely no other passages where we'll say something silly like that, right? I mean, Wallahi, don't let the kuffar make fun of us. And to prove our point, we just got to click on this random guy slide. It's not gonna damage us in any way, but the ummah will not be shaky.
Yeah, and I have just checked, and we're near the end, so we only have another 27 slides left. So,
Yep.
as a
Like we
joke.
said, can't be worse. Sus. All right, hit it, bro, hit it, Aki. Come on.
No. I should have added some music to this.
Yeah. Oh dear.
The Among Us theme. I should have added that. Maybe I will later in post-production.
Oh, definitely. You like that's slowly coming, like ominously. Like what is it? That shark. So we've already covered this passage actually in an earlier episode that talks about celebrating Christian missionaries and the Book of Acts. So we've already run through it. But when the advocacy of Allah, that's the Holy Spirit. Do you reckon? So who's continuously repenting in verse 3? Who? That's what I want to know.
Praising thy
And
Lord,
where have we?
his forgiveness. He was continuously repenting. He was. So you have thy Lord, and then and seeking his forgiveness. Okay, praising thy Lord, seeking his forgiveness. So the continuously repenting should be he who is praising the Lord and seeking his forgiveness, although that doesn't work in the Islamic narrative.
Surely not. Surely you can't be serious.
Yeah, no, I'm not being serious. This is total comedy, and as Usama says, but I'm actually as well just thinking about the very first sentence when the advocacy of Allah came and the opening. Sorry, how do you write that? What do you mean and the opening? This has to mean something else. What is the verb?
Okay. Refer back to my episode on the opening, and also that the word advocacy is the word nasar. From yes, that's where the word nasara where we get that. So an advocate is a nasar.
Okay, I need to investigate the Nasara. Okay, but yeah, to answer this one, I'm just now too confused. So by praising thy Lord and seek his forgiveness, surely he was past tense, as we have it here in the Arabic, continuously repenting. I don't know who is thy Lord, who is praising, who is seeking forgiveness, and who is continuously repenting. At this point, it's just my brain has given up. I have no idea. What is this? Please make it make sense.
Well, I'm sure his name is not Shirley, and continuously doesn't sound like it's stopped. So whoever this person is repenting is should we check up on? Should we go see? Should we try to see? Did thou not see that? Allah was apparently Allah was prostrating. Maybe he could. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's repented from doing that. Yeah. Should one of us check up on him, or just finish your beer first, and then if you remember.
I'll send him a WhatsApp later. That's all right. I'll
Yeah.
check up on him.
That's it. So, but that does interesting. So, is Allah a Nasara? Because the Nasar of Allah. So, so maybe Allah is a Nasara. Maybe he's one of a group. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there. It's probably a. Looks like it says it right.
Why did they leave these things in instead of just abrogating it? Why didn't they just, feed it to the sheep? What is going on? Oh boy. Anyway, so only one question mark, which means it's probably quite okay as it is If we had like 10, then we would know that the whole thing is from a different language. But only one question mark? I don't know. This word here, by the way, yes, because we can see it. So it has two nun shapes, basically these shapes that each of them can be 5 different consonants. It's very likely, I would just assume that it doesn't say, originally didn't say repenting. It was something else, but they didn't want us to read that word. So they rather made it repenting than what it originally said. That would be my 2 pence, because otherwise it makes no sense. It breaks everything.
Yep. Okay. All good. I was just gonna go. I was just gonna like, because it's only 3 verses. I can read. It's not worth it because the Oh, look. Okay. I'll just briefly read Dakdok's translation. And so Dakdok it does use the standard narrative as best as he can. So when the triumph of Allah and the conquest comes, and you see the people entering the religion of Allah by throngs, so praise with your Lord's praise, and seek his forgiveness. Surely he was ever relenting. But I don't think that helps. So yeah, I think don't worry. If we move on, we'll be unstuck. That's what I've heard.
Okay, sorry, can you actually just read the 3rd verse again from Usama? Because, yeah, sorry. What did he say? The Lord is? Okay, sorry, if you can read it again, that would be great.
So praise with your Lord's praise. So that's Lord apostrophe S, Lord's praise, and seek his forgiveness. Surely he was ever relenting. RELENTING. Relenting.
All right. And in the past tense. Okay, yeah, that needs more exploring, but it's certainly sus.
Sus, indeed. But it's because it says ever relenting. So it kind of makes the same point as continuously. But yeah,
Okay.
it's got to get better from here. It's only going to go up. Sure, it's going to only go.
Look, it's going up already.
Yeah, it's just kind of sus. Yeah, it tis but a flesh wound.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. And oh, what? No.
No. Who would ever make such a claim? I mean, come on. So, like I said, okay, the word apportion. Allah will soon apportion the thanking ones. That's chapter 3. That's the Muhammad passage right there, the Muhammad passage. And Allah will pay jizya to the thanking ones. And what was the other one? Oh, where was that? That was in 33. So hang on. There's chapter 3, 144, and 33. Verse 20. There's an awful lot of a certain number that I shouldn't be saying there. So cover your ears. But yes. So on a conversation with the man, the myth, our brother, Saint Murad himself said, the word for apportion is, as you can see in the arrow pointed, is the root word for jizya. So yeah, so basically apportion is that word jizya. So are you thankful? Because apparently you'll soon receive your check your bank account. Just check your details twice.
This is not a scam. Okay, I don't actually see
it's an authentic one.
So I can see the whole thing about jizya. I know that Murad also said that the word jizya is a corruption of the word for tribute. So it basically, they have played with it. And actually, I'm working on it, trying to see what happens when you change the diacritics, because there is a bit of a mess. But if he told you that it is like from the same root, although it begins with sin, now I'm going to actually take this into account as I'm actually looking for the meaning, the original meaning of the word jizya, because I don't think this is a real word. It only appears once in the Quran, so they added the diacritics in whichever way they wanted. If it was important, it would have appeared everywhere in the Quran, and maybe it does. Maybe it's part of this other word. So I will investigate. This is very, very cool. And if I can confirm that Allah pays the jizya, I will let you know.
yeah. And tell him he owes me a lot more than, but I want to give Allah time to just process his feelings, and overcome his Allah's pain and I don't want to tire. It sounds pretty exhausted, so he's probably very busy writing stuff down. So yeah,
Okay.
it would be
So
nice to be yes.
if Allah
So
pays the jizya, and Allah, what else does he do? He prostrates, and
yep.
he gets hurt as well, and so on. I think that Allah might actually not be a Muslim, might be a kuffar.
Yeah, that's a very sneaking suspicion I have. No, absolutely no pun. Who am I kidding? All right. So remember I said clipping? I think this is a good time to start clipping. So like screen record, whatever you want. Remember that movie 10 Things I Hate About You? Maybe Islam, but by that I mean the modern Sunni. No matter what school, See, I'm not showing off my knowledge, but I do know, you've got the Hanbali, Hanafi, Maliki, Ashafi, Salafi. I'm pretty sure they're not going to like what we've just seen and what we can't unsee. So Allah does Tawbah, Salat, Sujud, and Jizya. So that's what Allah does. And that's in the Arabic. So bonus points if you can go to your Muslim friend and says, okay, so you want me to do that? Well, I guess, did you know that Allah does that? And did you know that Allah can be hurt, exhausted, and perfected? There you go. And Allah needs a loan and a memo note to self. And you know what? How it says Allah does those four things. What's missing? It's actually very scary. And I think this is why we actually need to really help Allah out. There's one thing that Allah hasn't done yet. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Allah hasn't done the Hajj. He hasn't been to Mecca yet and circled the. So maybe it's expensive. So maybe we need to actually we should start to go fund Allah, and help get Allah to at least do his last rite, and then maybe he'll disappear, or I don't know.
Of course. So feel free to people watching. Feel free to donate everything you can certainly not to me because I'm not taking any payments, but feel free to help us by clicking the subscribe button, like button, share button, all of the good buttons, and remember that Allah is thankful for your support.
Absolutely, and I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. So give what you can, and definitely give Saint Murad your love, and and support him in his projects, because I wouldn't be able to do none of us would be anywhere doing any of this, discovering some somewhat inconvenient and maybe suspicious truths, but perhaps this is what we need to hear. It's so there you go. How can I not leave you with a bonus? So your homework is to try to make this go viral about the 10 things. But remember. So look at that picture on the left. Now, what I want to talk through is this, and I'm very grateful that you all loved and enjoyed the Muhammad presentation. I've actually done that, but that's my own works where I'm not being influenced by anybody. I'm just taking these passages and reading the biblical text. So like sola scriptura. Lloyd loves that word. No, he doesn't. But look at this this channel, Quran Wala. So he's a brother in Pakistan, and he's actually he's done his own thing, and we've got the same conclusion. And the interesting thing is, I'm using the Bible. This gentleman is not using the Bible. He's only using the Quran and linguistics. So, and he's come up with essentially the same conclusion. So, go figure. I guess I'm not such a whack job after all.
Everyone is concluding the same thing from any different angle. It doesn't matter whether you're going with whatever it is, whatever historical accounts, whatever language. If you're going Arabic only, it means the same thing. If you go into Syriac or Hebrew, it means the same thing. Everybody is just converging on exactly the same conclusion, which is phenomenal.
And the moment you've been waiting for. So everyone, go watch this channel on which is by Gabriel Sayed Reynolds. Yeah, and this is the passage to reinforce and see for yourself. So yeah, I actually haven't included anything from any other external, and you'll notice that this the way I'm doing this series is I'm not being influenced by any scholars or any reading. I'm just taking the Bible and the Quranic text from the Arabic as per Saint Morale, and yeah, and this is what we're getting at. But please do go ahead and check this out because you'll find that it's very, very interesting, and definitely share that video as well as our work and our videos, and let it all go. Let the truth be heard.
Yes, and when you say that you are basically doing your own research as opposed to actually taking things from scholars, the thing is that is the right place where to begin, because if we are just following what the scholars are saying, we wouldn't be making any progress. They are still reading Mohammed into every single verse. It is only with the works of people like J. Smith who have started to say, well, have been saying for a long time, Mohammed didn't exist. We can then look at the text and says, 1 minute, if he doesn't exist, why do we keep reading him in the text? And then we look at the text and say, okay, that's not him. So we have to go outside of academia. If we're actually doing this research and all that we do is take the books from other researchers and saying, here you go, this is what it is, we are never going to get to the final conclusion to understand what it said. It is only by looking at this with fresh pair of eyes and questioning everything that we can actually move the narrative in the direction to the original meaning of the book. So I think what you're doing is absolutely fine. Just like with the stuff that I do, it's never going to be 100% correct. We are all trying to be directionally correct. And then as we continue and continue and more people get involved, at one point, everyone as a community will find the final answer. As it stands, we're still going and we will just make mistakes along the way, but everything is pointing at obviously Muhammad not being in the Quran and all of this being Trinitarian. By ignoring people pushing the narrative of Muhammad being in the Quran and just looking at it with uh, skepticism, we can help actually get everybody closer to the end. So very well done, John. I have really loved all of this material that you have actually been studying. This has been, I think, by far the most fun and also painful of all of the shows. Actually, seeing all of these very obvious things, it becomes so clear once you put them all together, so that we don't have to go and look for verses here and there. So very well done. I really look forward to seeing what other things you find, and to having you over again to show to the audience how the Quran was pretty influenced by the Bible. Most likely they even copied things from there. So very well done, John, and thank you for all of your work.
It's an absolute pleasure, and yeah, and yep, we'll keep exploring the Quran and the Bible, and God willing, next year we'll explore the Bible and see how it really does shape the reality of the Quranic text. So yeah, what an absolute honor. And I think just my last word for this episode is to everyone, and especially to to those under the Islamic under Islam. Please come to Jesus the Messiah. You don't need to loan him anything. He will give you eternal life and citizenship in the kingdom of heaven. And he loves you more than you could ever know. So shalom aleichem, and salam alaikum wa barakatuh in the name of the Messiah.
Right. Thank you, John. That has been wonderful. And yes, if one religion is giving for free and the other one is asking you for money, you should know exactly what to do. But anyway, this has been wonderful, John. Looking forward to all of the other stuff that you will have for us in the future. And until then, to everyone watching, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this expose. Make sure that you leave your comments in the comment section below so that John can pick them up. Anything that you've noticed that we should be exploring and we are not, please let us know. And hopefully we will see you back again soon as we reveal more and more of these problems and a lot of other good stuff. So until then, stay well, God bless you, and remember, don't say three. Bye.
There is only one Quran, right? Every Quran in the world is the same. That's what you've been told. You have been told a lie!
Approximately 26 of the Quran.
26 different Qurans!
There are 0 Dawa guys apparently left on the planet who are willing to defend Muhammad in a debate.
Everybody can go and read it. This is a book full of mistakes in Arabic, in the grammar, in the spelling, in the pronunciation.
Whoever wrote the Quran made an error because they didn't quite understand what was written in the 7th century in the Torah and the Injil.
Stay away from these translations. They are propaganda.
We know that stories about Muhammad were made up on an industrial scale.
What in the world is this Injil?